name's Andy Weidlin. I work at BuzzFeed. My Twitter handle is AC Weidlin. I'm trying to improve my clout score, so if anybody wants to heckle me, rip on me, it doesn't matter, it improves the clout score. So I'm here to talk about social advertising and can PR be the champion of social advertising? It's a big question mark. We're going to get into that. But give me 1 minute. So, an agenda. Social advertising. We think social changes advertising for the better. And we think this is a great opportunity for brands to do social storytelling. And we think this is an awesome opportunity for PR to take advantage of this, but so far they haven't. So let me just start with our POV, is that we think that social is changing the world for the better. In the past, you'd get your news from portals, and then you get your news from Google, and more you're getting your news through your friends, through the feed, through Twitter and Facebook. And you know, the awesome thing about the internet is your friends can share stuff with you, you can discover it, you can play with it, and you can share with your friends. So why doesn't internet advertising work like the internet? It just seems to make more sense. So we think it's a great opportunity for brands to stop running banner ads, stop interrupting people, and instead create great content that people will like and share with their friends. And if they do that, for the first time, brands can do word-of-mouth marketing at scale. So when we talk to brands, we say, hey, this is a great opportunity. You should create great content that people will like and share. And what most brands do is they can't help themselves. And they say, oh my God, I want this white paper on enterprise serving to go viral. And it never does, right? And so what we tell our brands is, take the Facebook test. Like, would you like to see this content in your feed? Would you click on it? Would you share it? And if you won't, there's no chance of this thing being shared. But if it's interesting, if you do a good job and you make it, great for consumers, there's a really great chance that it will be shared. And so, more advice that we give brands is like TV ads. We think social advertising is more akin to TV ads than banner ads, right? Because like TV ads, it tells a story, it involves people emotionally, and it's not heavy-handed. So, if content is social, we think ads can be too. And so I'm just going to show you some examples of ads that we've done, social advertising that we've done for brands. Hopefully you'll find it humorous. So how many times can you say, Prius is a hybrid and it gets great gas mileage? Nobody's going to share that, right? So instead what we did was we created the 20 greatest hybrid animals brought to you by Prius C. Right? You got the Donkroid, you got the Zebroid, you got the Beefalo. Right? This is like, there's a greater chance that this will be shared than someone sharing a banner ad. Here's an example. Everybody loves dogs, right? 20 reasons why dogs are men's best friend. Right? It's not heavy-handed, but if you love your dog, you're going to give it pedigree, you're going to share it with your friends. It's sort of a light message. And the benefit is that you're getting your word out there and people are sharing it on your behalf. Another thing is, we just tell brands to stop being so heavy-handed and speak in the voice of your consumers. Virgin Mobile's a big advertiser for us. You guys can read this, I think. Can you guys read this? So Virgin Mobile's proposition is that you get a great phone for a great price, unlimited texting, youth culture, right? So instead of trying to jam down a cell phone message, just the greatest tweets, the greatest text messages. And the interesting thing about this social advertising is that for the first time, advertising can be shared. And we measure all the sharing. So in this chart, the blue traffic is the seed traffic. This is the traffic that we provide to advertisers because we promote their social ad on BuzzFeed. And all the red traffic, or 40% of the traffic, is coming through social sharing. So this is a really huge opportunity for brands to stop interrupting people and give people something that they want to share. And you can see the lifts. 40% of the engagement with this brand's content is free through sharing. So the last thing I want to close with is this idea of always-on marketing. And I think with the Super Bowl and the blackout of the Super Bowl, and Oreo reacted really quickly with you can still dunk in the dark, brands are trying to do real-time marketing. And it's an exciting time, and you have to be committed to it. You have to set up a newsroom. You have to be ready to align with the zeitgeist. But if you do, you can align with what's happening in the news and create content that people will like and share, and you're giving value to people. And not all brands can do this. Usually it's like, okay, we're going to create this great content. We have to get it reviewed by legal. It's a stretch, but I feel like PR is in the best position since you guys are charged with communicating and posting and status updating. You guys are in the best position to do this kind of real-time marketing. But the challenge is that you guys aren't doing it. Okay, so I joined BuzzFeed a little over 2 years ago, and when I started, when we were pioneering this idea of social advertising, we thought that we'd get money from clients, and we'd get money from PR agencies, and we'd get money from media agencies and creative agencies and social shops. And we worked with Golan Harris and Edelman and Fleshman Hillard, and we sort of got out of the gates. But the reality is that we're getting the money from clients, and we're getting the money from digital media agencies. And it's kind of weird and frustrating. This is a challenge for the group. You guys are best positioned to communicate the brand's identity online. And yet, for some reason, you guys aren't getting the money to do that from clients. So I'm not here to, I'm not here to solve the world's problems. I'm here to just complain about them, evidently. But this is the opportunity for PR, and I just feel like you're not taking advantage of it. I'm going to end on that happy note unless anybody has any questions for me.
Now,
Yes.
you showed a number of interesting, ad promotion-y content with the hybrid animals, but is there any actual ROI metrics that the client can see, like how many extra Priuses were sold or how many birds were sold?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the question is, and I'm going to paraphrase, this is hilarious advertising, but does it sell cars? Right? And it's still early days. What we do measure is we measure engagement and sharing. Right? So we promote something, it gets engaged with. So on our homepage, we get anywhere from a 2 to 4% click-through rate. So people are more likely to click on it. And then in the example, most brands get 40% of free engagement through sharing. So those are promising benchmarks. The question you ask is, does this lift brand metrics, purchase intent, consideration, trial, those kind of things? We've done a dozen studies with Nielsen so far, and what the data seems to indicate is that advertising on BuzzFeed works. People recognize that, oh, it's Prius and they're creating this content. But the thing that really is exciting for us is that people that receive this content through a share, through word-of-mouth marketing, the brand lift goes up demonstrably. And I think that's intuitive. I think that we all sort of believe that word-of-mouth marketing makes sense, that if someone shares something with you, it breaks through the clutter and you're saying, oh, Joe shared this thing about Prius, he must like Prius, I'm kind of down with it. So it seems to be indicating that, but today we've only done a dozen studies, and that's what it seems to be showing us. Yes, sir.
What do you think the disconnect with PR agencies is? Why do you think they haven't?
Because you guys don't ask for the money. Ask for the money, right? Because you have digital agencies, right? That there's this advertising industrial complex out there, right? With armies of 24-year-old media planners that super efficiently issue RFPs and ask publishers to give them a big idea in an Excel spreadsheet in one cell, right? And clients are used to giving these agencies money to spend on their behalf, but they're buying in the banner economy. To me, social advertising is the content business. It's the brand building business. It's the engagement business. It's the word of mouth business. And I feel like PR, that's what you guys do.
Or is it because PR agencies aren't used to paying for?
Yeah, maybe that's some of it. I mean, you guys are used to getting free promotion, right? That's your value, is that you pull a bunch of levers and you issue a bunch of press releases and you tweet and you status update and you don't ask for money. But it takes money to create content, seed it, distribute it, measure it. We think it's a big payoff. We think more people should do it. Yes, sir.
So how do we go about engaging you or integrating you in our new business process?
Well, I'm Andy W. at BuzzFeed.com. Feel free to send me an email. We have a team of people that work with brands.
I mean, what's the process? And maybe you can step me through it.
Sure. So in general, a brand will reach out to us, or sometimes a PR agency, most often a digital agency. And they say, oh, we have this holiday promotion. We want to make Target cool. And they say, okay, well, we ask for the brand brief. What does Target want to stand for? What people do they want to reach? What products do they want to promote? And we give it to our creative team. And our creative team comes up with a dozen hilarious posts that are on brand, but is content that people will like and share. And we show it to the agency, we show it to the client, and they say, oh my God, that's hilarious, that's so stupid, no way in hell, legal would never approve. And we come up with 10 things. Yes?
So you work in a B2B setting too?
Yeah, tell me we're all friends
Like,
here.
I would say an IT manager.
An IT manager that wants to do what?
Drive awareness for the company and drive awareness to the IT audience. I mean, so how would we use BuzzFeed?
Yeah, to date we've done, most of our big successes are with consumers because consumers are online and facile with the social web. We do B2B marketing. We work for Microsoft and GE, and it doesn't always have to be humorous and hilarious. But I'd love to share with you the GE examples that we've done to reach decision makers and CTOs. It's really great work.
Thanks.
Yes?
How much does it cost?
How much do you got?
Like a range, you know?
Yeah, we're finding that if a brand invests $100,000 a month, they can create enough content and there's enough cadence that people will like and share it. What we're really finding is that, and this is why I think PR has an advantage over digital media agencies. Digital media agencies plan like a campaign. They plan 6-week flights and then they go dark. And social advertising is really more of a conversation than a campaign. And PR companies are, you're on retainer and you're going to be doing this and this is our year-long cadence. And what we're finding is that when a client doesn't go dark, when they're always on and they're always putting out content and iterating off that content, the results improve. The amount of sharing goes up, the cost per engagement goes down. So in many ways, PR is best positioned to do this. But it's about $100,000 a month. Any? Oh my gosh, Kara Swisher.
Well, I enjoyed it, Donford, as much as the next person. What is the jig up on this kind of stuff? Because it does have a trend element to it. And while your team is actually very creative, and actually the content you do for advertising is actually better than your other content. When did it, like some of it, so when, I've seen a lot of bad versions of it. Advertising starting to happen, and it starts to get muddy, and it feels like a trend. How does it stay into something that continues to be clever? Because there's only so many. Again, I love a laugh out loud cat, but it doesn't. Ultimately, it doesn't work all the time.
So Kara Swisher asked, I'm going to paraphrase, but when do puppies stop being funny?
No, I don't. When does this start to be done by not, there's not a lot of creativity right now in digital media.
Yeah, well,
First creative thing.
yeah, well, I mean, banners had a 15-year run, right? There's no creativity in that, it doesn't work, people aren't moving metrics. We think that it's early days. I think the challenge, I understand your point, right? Because how many times can you iterate for a brand? And what we're finding is that we're just scratching the surface on this. Once you get the brand brief and once you create content that people like, I mean, we're really moving
I guess
intent.
the thing is what's beyond the listicle. There's only so many listicles you can do before it gets to be a consumer gets tired of it.
Yeah.
Unless it's wildly complicated, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think there's always been lists, right? And this is just a format, and it tends to be something that works. We bought Zay Frank's company, and so we're creating, we have a studio in LA where we're creating short video that people will like and share. And that's something that's a very odd thing. When we first started, everybody's like, oh, create this viral video for me that's going to go viral and get me a promotion. And the reality is that people don't share videos until recently because they were heavy and they're 7 minutes and it's HD quality and nobody can view them on mobile phones. but with Vine and with sort of like lo-fi, high-impact video, these are actually being shared. So I think that's the next frontier, is creating shareable, snackable, interesting video that people like that has a brand message in it. I would say that's the next wave. Thank you, Kara. Anybody else? Oh, yes.
I had a question about, you talking about some of these kind of, funny campaigns that are getting some great shares and social engagement and maybe resulting in some quick traffic pops for a site. I was just wondering, how do you and your team, though, analyze or decipher what's the threshold of what maybe the investing community would care about it then? And just because it's funny and you can do it, should you do it to also align with a growing brand?
When you say investment community, what do you mean?
Well, so where I work, for example, if we're a successful growing business, we care, what investors and any business would. So just because you can put out cats that are laughing, as a PR person, should you? I think you should be asking yourself, do all stakeholders in your business think about it? And so, how do you decipher?
Yeah.
How do you put weight on that?
Yeah. So that's sort of a dovetails with what Kara asked. Is like, when do cats and dogs get old? When does this make sense for my brand? And what we're finding is that people share cats and dogs because they're human and they're lovable and it's emotional and it's cute, right? But the real reason people share content is to make themselves look cool and clever, right? And so as a brand, the challenge is, what kind of content that I can create that people will like and share to make themselves look good, right? Because people don't share content because they love your brand. They share content because they like their friends, right? And so, and this is the entire trick. You can make anything go viral if you put cats and Kardashians in it, right? But does it make sense for the brand, right? And so, here's an example. I had alluded to the Dove commercials. I don't know if you've seen these things, the peekaboo ads and the sketch things. Like, that's brilliant creative. That's brilliant television creative. They can never capture that emotion in a banner ad, but they can capture that in a social ad, in a post with pictures of real women talking about, how they feel about beauty and things like that. And so the trick is to understand the brand, understand your audience, and create content that people will like and share. And that's the trick. And that's what we're doing, and to great effect. I mean, we're having a lot of fun. Metrics are good. 65% of our revenue is renewals, and we're a growing company, so we think that's a good sign. Yes?
When you talk about wanting to make the brand cool or make companies want to look and feel cool, have you experienced or do you have a fear of experiencing maybe backlash, especially in a B2B environment, of maybe someone not taking the brand as seriously or not seeing you as a viable business that they want to spend money with because it's cats laughing?
It seems like two questions. One is, if a brand pursues cool, could there be a backlash because they're just intrinsically uncool? That's what I heard.
More, why would a company put a cool photo of a zebra / whatever that is?
It's a zebroid, of course. Or is it a donkoid? I can't see it from here.
And then maybe the consumer or maybe the business spending money with them thinks they're spending all their money on this, or they think this zebra, what is it? Zabinski is what this brand is about, and they're not focused on the quality of their own product, maybe.
So you're questioning whether advertising spend's a good idea or not, right? Because in a sense, if you're worried that shareholders might think by doing something like this, it's frivolous and you're pissing away money. And I would say that social advertising has much more promise and delivers better results than newspaper advertising, print advertising, banner advertising, radio advertising. I mean, I think people love TV because TV, you can tell a story and get an emotional response, and it's very visible, and you have reach, and it's a very powerful thing. I think social advertising is most akin to television advertising. And the question about whether the ads you create is frivolous or not really depends on the content you create. And the one thing I kind of want to end with is, with television advertising and with communications, everybody grips and you try to create like the best thing, and like you do a bunch of iterations and you fly your creative team to Switzerland to get the perfect shot. And with social advertising, it's much more iterative. We don't say go with one post and see how it does. We say try a dozen, right? We'll create this stuff. People will like it and share it. You can look at the comments. People will either hate on it or not. And if people don't like it, and people don't click on it, people don't share it, then we'll move on to the next thing, right? Yes?
Sort of to build off their question.
Yes?
What, or to state it in a different way, can you give us is there an example of a good business, social advertising in a business-to-business context?
Yes. Yes. So the question is there good business-to-business social advertising?
Yeah. Do you have a case study, an example?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to BuzzFeed.com/advertise, we have about a dozen case studies. One is Microsoft. Microsoft has an interesting challenge, right? Microsoft, I've been in this business a long time. I was very fearful of Microsoft and thought they were going to take over the world. They've got a real problem. They're not cool. Nobody thinks their products are cool. And so if you look at the content we create for Microsoft, the basic theme is we're not as lame as you think we are.
Who are they targeting?
They're targeting millennials, right? So 60% of our,
Business.
60%, oh, for business to business.
Yeah, I mean, they're asking about
So if you're trying to reach a business-to-business audience, right, the interesting thing about social advertising is content finds its audience, right? So it's not like you need sophisticated targeting and say, I want to reach CTOs, and I'm going to target these people and retarget these people, and I'm going to reach these CTOs. No, you create content that only a CTO would love, right? So the best example is GE, right? GE sells jet engines and locomotives, right? And MRI stuff, right? And so what we do for GE to make sure that people that are making purchasing decisions for United or Boeing or whatever it is like 12 incredible photos of jet engines, right? And it's so weird that you think with advertising you want to create kind of advertising that appeals to everybody. With social advertising, you want to create stuff that appeals to a very niche audience. For example, last month we ran this story. It was like 33 reasons why it sucks to be tall, right? And like, I obviously didn't click on that story, right? But I've got this guy in Chicago, Pat Chambers, who's like 6'8", right? And he's like, oh my God, like my friends totally sent me that story. It's so great. It's like being tall sucks, like having awkward hugs with short people and like flying Southwest. And there's all these reasons that it really sucks to be tall. And like, I didn't click on it, I didn't share it, but all his ginormous friends were like looking at this and laughing at it, right? And the same thing is with business-to-business content. You do things about like, 12 amazing facts about electrical engineering that you didn't know. And it seems crazy niche, but it gets to the audience. But go to our website. We got a lot of really good case studies. Can I ask one more question? Because that was a hard one. Give me a good one. I mean, an easier one. Nobody? Yes?
So what's the next thing in, after social media? How do you leave it? Once that market gets saturated, how would you extend that market or that social outlet, media outlet?
So what's the next thing after social media? That's a big question. I mean, and I guess I should know because I'd invest in those companies. And you're right? Like there wasn't 10 years ago. There's no Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, and this kind of took us all by storm, right? To me, I see the easiest trend to see is that social and mobile and video were all discrete areas that were hot, but they were completely. There was no overlap of that Venn diagram, right? You couldn't make a video go social. You couldn't make a video go mobile because just technology wouldn't allow it, right? But now with higher bandwidths and shorter videos and lo-fi video, we're seeing this age where you can create a social video that will go viral on mobile. So to me, the three hottest parts of our market, social, mobile, video, are coalescing around things, and it gives brands a huge opportunity to take advantage of all three. Sean's looking at me. I'll be around. AC Weidlin, that's my Twitter handle. Just hoping that cloud score goes above Kara's. Just doing my best. Okay, thank you, Sean.